like to welcome everybody here tonight to the Plan Commission of the Village of Morton, Illinois, Monday, February 22nd. Would you call a roll?
Yes, sir. Elam? Here. Farrell? Keach?
Here.
Knepp?
Here.
Hagel?
Here.
Ritterbusch?
Here.
Smock? Westlake?
Here.
And Zobrist. Thank you.
Okay, and in Justin's absence, I'm going to take the gavel tonight. We need to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Anybody have any comments or questions? Anybody want to make a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting.
We have a motion
A second.
and a second.
Thank you. Keach?
Yes.
Knepp?
Yes.
Hagel?
Yes.
Ritterbusch?
Yes.
Westlake?
Yes.
And Elam?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have one item on the agenda tonight. It's a public hearing for petition number 16-03ZA. And before we have our public hearing, we're just going to let our attorney explain what that is.
Thank you. Public hearing is being held tonight pursuant to published notice. Any person wishing to make a comment to the Plan Commission will be afforded an opportunity to do so and will give their testimony under oath or affirmation. Any person living within 250 feet of the property at issue wishing to cross-examine a testifying witness may be afforded an opportunity to do so at the discretion of our chair on matters germane to the issues before the Plan Commission. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the Plan Commission will make a recommendation to the Village Board. The Plan Commission makes recommendations only. The Village Board takes final action on these matters.
Thank you. All right, so the first item, petition number 16-03ZA. Stan Gallett is seeking a zoning amendment for 300 North First Avenue from B2 to R1. Is there anyone here who wants to represent Mr. Gallett?
I'm Stan Gallett.
Need to,
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, thank you.
so please give your name and your address and.
Sure. Good evening. Thanks for coming out. My name is Stan Gallett. I live at 512 North Locust in Tremont. In your packet, I hope you have in front of you, is as much information as I could provide as far as what it is that we're asking for. The property in question is 300 North First. It's actually at the north, I would call it the northeast corner of First and Monroe. There is a quite old home on the property. Was built in 1883 or thereabouts. And I bought it as a foreclosed property with the intent of building a new home, taking the house down and building the house. I talked to Roger Spangler about my plans, got all the pertinent setback information, was proceeding forward, and became aware kind of midstream that this is actually zoned B2. Which I did not think would be an issue. This is, I guess, the neighborhood would best be defined as mixed use at this point. There are some small businesses, there are residences. This particular block is primarily residence, and that is kind of in keeping with the neighborhood. The fact of the matter, though, I guess, as I am told, is that in order to take this home down and build another one, it needs to be rezoned. And as such, that's what the petition is. That we do that, and that I would be then allowed to build a residence on it. intent, I believe, possibly was, in looking back, it looks like this was rezoned in the late 60s, that it had been residential before then. This has been, as far as I can tell, continuously occupied home since the late 1800s, and I would like to keep it as such. If I need to get it rezoned in order to do that, I'd like to do that. If I don't need to get it rezoned, that's fine too. It sort of seems like, we're getting into stuff that is way over my pay grade, but it seems like perhaps zoning could flow downhill a little bit more than that, in the sense that I'm not asking to build a factory on B2, I'm asking to build a home on it. But I understand that zoning laws are written as they are written. And I also understand, at least that I've been told, that there would be no special use provision for this thing that I'm trying to do. If that is the case, then I'd like to rezone it. If that is not the case, then I'm happy as a clam to just leave it as is and build a house on it. The problem, I would say, from a plan perspective, playing the advocate for the other side, is that I am surrounded by stuff that's zoned B2. I'm asking to be an island of R1 in a place that is zoned on everything, on all sides that are touching as B2. It seems as if this is, it seems like kind of a lot of hoops to jump through to get a house built, but I'm happy to jump through them. I don't know what else there is to say about it.
Okay, thank you.
You betcha.
Does anybody on the board have a question for Mr. Gallant? Hearing none, thank you very much.
One brief comment for you guys before you vote. Roger and I talked about this case before today. Occasionally, we've had these types of cases come up where you have property that I would describe as being aspirationally rezoned. That is, many years ago, there was a desire to change the nature of uses in an area of the town, so it was rezoned. And in almost all of those cases, the uses of the properties never change, and you end up with a circumstance where there's basically nonconformity or lack of harmony between present use and what your zoning classification is. And the way we've addressed those as they've come up is to fix them on one-off basis, as opposed to kind of going through a comprehensive assessment of the zoning districts. We're sensitive to spot zoning, but in light of the fact that there is residential zoning nearby, and that almost all of these properties are put to residential use, Roger and I both felt it was not inappropriate for rezoning of this property.
As near as I could tell from going back through the records that I could find, sometime between 1965 and 1969 is when this went from R1 to B2. So,
Okay. It's probably aspirational, as
Mr. Chairman, just one comment. Is that this property here, 300, is rezoned R1, and everything else around it is B2. Some future time, those could be utilized as B2, like 308, 105 on Monroe.
Correct.
So that's the one thing for the homeowner, is that there could eventually be a B2 use next to you.
Absolutely.
So that's something you'd have to recognize going into this, because if one of those property owners wanted to utilize the B2s, they could do that without any rezoning or anything.
right, exactly.
How about are there any people in the audience who'd like to make a comment tonight about that? You would? You need to come and be sworn in.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Go up to the mic, state your name.
I'm Maureen Bartels. I live at 308 North First, right next door. I don't see any problem with what he's planning to do. It'll be nice to have a stable neighbor in that house, on that property for a while. It would be great. And I really don't plan to do anything with the property at this time. I'm not going to go business. So I think it'll be good for the neighborhood.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, any further discussion amongst the board we need to have? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve.
We have a motion
I second.
and a second. Roll call?
Keach,
Yes?
Net,
Yes.
Pagel,
Yes.
Rudebush,
Yes.
Westlake,
Yes.
and Elam.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that closes the public hearing. And on to the next item on the agenda is asking Roger Spangler if he has any words of wisdom for us tonight.
On a good night, I don't have many, so no, I don't.
Okay. All right, so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.